Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Super exciting day today. We are gonna get the cows on this planted annual field. So it's been a long time coming. Those of you that are new to the channel, this was it's less than 2 acres farm field that the neighbors, it's right next door to our home place. I was able to take control of it earlier this year. It's been in corn and bean rotation for as long as I can remember. The guy who farmed it beforehand gave it up. I was able to take control of it, and I planted a bunch of summertime grazing annuals on it. So we're at the minimum time to graze this as far as maturity goes. The stuff that I planted in here, it was a broad mix of stuff. I'll put that in the description below. Was anywhere from 60 to 90 day maturity. I've got everything from BMR grazing corn to kale, turnips, some Sudan type grasses. So a lot of it is not fully mature. There's not as much tonnage on here as I would have liked to have gotten. We are at 65 days. So again, some of the species I planted, the bare minimum of their maturity was 60 days. So we're right there, but I don't have much time. I have to get the cows on here because breeding is coming up. The AI, everything out here, and the first step in that breeding, that AI program happened just the other day. And basically what's going to happen is when the cows go to the breeder to actually get inseminated, from there they're going to go to one of the lease pastures because I'm already going to have them loaded up. They're already going to be off of my place. It makes sense just to take them to the lease pasture for the remainder of the year. I want to get this stuff grazed as much as possible before then, because obviously if I don't, it's a waste of money. Truthfully, I really don't know how many days they're going to get out of this field. And in case you're wondering, the plan with this field, at least in the future, will be this is where the finishing animals will go. So I am going to attempt to grass finish everything out here when it comes to the beef. And we all know that in order to have a good tasting product, you really need to have some good marbling, some good fat in that beef. And trying to do that without grain is a science. And it's something that I know nothing about. But what I do know is that an alternate to graining your animals the last, 30, 60, 90 days before they're butchered is to provide them with very highly nutritious, high protein, high energy, high fat forages like what I got over here. Again, that lasts 30, 60 days. So every ounce of weight that they're gaining before they go to the butcher goes straight to fat. So in the future, if this works out for me, the plan is to have just the 3 or 4 finishing animals for that year that are going to the butcher that year to go on this field their last 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is. And the rest of the cow herd will remain on our cool season perennial pastures. So right now, while I'm thinking about it, let's talk about the economics of this, because, I think your cost benefit is an important thing to look at when you are planting annuals, because again, this is not going to come back each year. This is something I'm going to have to do. Now, I always look at, when I'm looking at my leases, when I'm looking at the cost of paying for land rental to put the cattle on, how much would that cost me per day in stored feed? So how much hay would I be feeding per day? And this is current hay prices. So I can't use, the cheapest hay I've ever bought or the most expensive hay I've ever bought. So it has to be current hay prices for both the time of year, which cutting you're at, first, second, third cutting, and just the year in general. If it's a drought year, if it's a very good hay year, obviously the price of hay is going to change. So, straight up, I'll tell you right now, for this little 2-acre field, I'm paying $100. So it was $100 flat fee, no matter how many days the animals got out of this. And that $100 did cover, just on the other side of this tree line here, there is a small meadow that I grazed. I made a video on that. I'll link that one at the end of this video too. But the majority of my $100 spent was just for this. Now, if I was feeding hay right now, based off of the current hay prices, I'd be feeding first cutting, small squares. That would be about $15 a day. So that's about 120 pounds of hay, or 3 40-pound small square bales a day. And that's minimum. More than likely, it would end up being 3.5 to 4 bales a day, again, because I have lactating females right now and they require a little bit more nutrition. So if you do the math, that's about 6 days, 6.5 days of paying at least $15 a day to feed the animals before I reach that $100. $100 again being what I pay to lease this for the year. Now, the only other thing that I need to factor in is the cost of seed. So the cost of seed to do this was about $80 worth of seed. Whether or not that changes next year, do I put more seed down? Do I put less seed down? But so let's say $180. Now that equals about 12 days of grazing that I would have to get out of this. $180, 12 days of grazing before I've already spent more money than I would have if I was feeding stored feed. Now, you might be wondering why I'm talking about the alternate to grazing this is stored feeds. That's simply because every day that my animals are on my cool season perennial pastures, that's the less amount of grazing that I'm going to get into the fall, which is a long way of saying the sooner that I'm going to have to feed hay as we're getting into winter. Oh man, I am so excited for this. I'm actually doing it 2 days earlier than I planned to, so I've kind of been running around this morning trying to get this set up quickly because they're calling for a lot of heat today, and I wanted to get cows moved before it gets hot, give them time to settle over there. Plus, we're going to be moving cows into the sun, which is never ideal, but I don't have much of a choice. So, hey, girls. Hey, girls. I'm actually shocked they're coming over here this easy, simply because the last time I called them up, everyone had to run through the chute. What's up, kids? Let's get everyone. What's up, buddy? Come on, mama. I got a surprise for y'all. Let's go. Come on, mama. Yeah, the last time I called them up, everyone got put in the corral system and ran through the chute for pre-breeding stuff, and they were not too happy with me, so I figured they would be hesitant to be coming with me this morning. Hey. So yeah, moving them into the sun, that's never ideal, especially into a brand new place they've never been to before. I'm gonna definitely have to give them time to figure this out, but I think once they see that field full of green goodness, they're gonna go running in. Hey, girls. Good girls. Come on, mama. Good girls, yeah. Buddy, you're on the clover. You don't even know. Got to get some of that corn. That pre-grain corn. Of course, this grazing corn, it's not a corn cob corn, you know, your classic animal feed, ethanol, sweet corn type of stuff. This is, again, it's called BMR 84, brown midrib, 84-day maturity. It does put on a cob with kernels, but it's not designed to be used as such. It's designed to be grazed early. Oh, look at her. Where are you going, kiddo? It's designed to be grazed early when it's in this very leafy stage. For those of you that don't know, corn is a grass. Corn is a tropical grass. So again, very high, and it's a warm season tropical grass. So this time of year, it's very high in protein, very high in energy. And as long as you are grazing corn like this before it's got an ear on it, you are still considered grass fed. So that's why we're doing it. Oh man, I can't believe we're out here already. So we do have a lot of foxtail, and I honestly cannot remember I don't think that they included foxtail into the mix. I mean, look at what she's grazing right now. Those are great leaf blades. Gorgeous blades of grass right there. A lot of good, you know, the nutrient profile of that is phenomenal. However, as it starts to mature, you get the classic foxtail, which in this stage is not bad. But it can cause problems with cows as it dries out and gets pokey. It can get stuck between their teeth, irritate their gums, irritate their jaws. It can get, you know, poking them in the eye. There is a good amount of foxtail. Now, again, in this stage, while it is starting to throw out its seed head, in this stage, it's very highly nutritious. So I'm glad we're getting on here now, but it could just be, you know, volunteer foxtail that's growing up because I gave it the perfect situation to. Oh yeah, let's talk about strip grazing. Those of you who watch my channel know that, you know, I do that managed intensive grazing where I'm allowing them strips and back fencing every day. I am not doing that right now in this field at all this year, simply because, again, I don't really have the time. I'm running the cows through this field as quickly as possible. I want them to get everything that they can get, all the best stuff. Because in about, let's see, what's today? Today is Thursday. In less than a week, actually Monday night, they're all gonna go back up to the corral system for the second round of pre-breeding things that I have to do to them. And then they're going to the breeder. So, you know, they've got less than a week on this stuff. I wanna make sure they're getting everything that they want. And I want to see personally what they really start to attack. What's their favorite thing? What do they go hunting for? Because if I can determine that, that's obviously what I'm going to be planting more of next year. By strip grazing them, by limiting what they're allowed to eat every day, I'm not really going to get a good judge for what they really, really want, and not so much what they are just eating because that's all they have for the day. You calves are gonna get lost in here, aren't you? You've already been causing me problems this morning. When I got home from work, you were next door at the neighbor's where you weren't supposed to be, and you just couldn't quite figure out how to get back home. And it's not the first time you've gotten out. Obviously I'm doing my 2-strand electric. This is what I do on my leased pastures that have no perimeter fence. I have had no problems with it, knock on wood. I've had no problems with it yet. It always seems to hold the cows in. You know, they don't challenge it at all as long as they're getting enough to eat and they're happy. So, man, God bless polywire, mini reels, and step-in posts, because I've got about 12 acres worth of leased pasture that is able to be grazed by me simply because this type of temporary perimeter fence holds the cows in. Real quick, what I have set up for my power source, just my Gallagher solar charger, running down, obviously connected to the fence, and then I've got it ground out on just 2 T-posts, not super deep in the ground. They're probably about 2.5, 3 feet in the ground, but this is a nice kind of moist corner, so it works well. It's putting out about 8,000 kilovolts right now, so that's more than enough. As long as they can get a good ground, that's more than enough for the cows to get zapped if they were to try and bust out of here. What do you think, Big Mac? Good stuff? Even though you're still just kind of going for the grass. Man, Mac is a great looking steer. I know I say it almost every time I focus on him, but I do wish I could have kept him intact as a bull. I would have really liked to have seen how he shaped up as a bull. But having him around as a steer has been great, and it helps that he's just really, really good to look at. One thing that I'm interested to see how the cows do is with their calves, because as you can see, I can only see these 2 cows right now. The other ones are pretty far away and you can't see their calves at all. I already hear some panic mooing going on as they're trying to figure out where the heck everyone is at in the herd. Something they haven't had to deal with before. What do you think, Mama? Old 46 here lost her ear tag the other day. So her 46 tag from Missouri, which is how I always identified her from a distance, is now gone. So she's just like all the other mama cows out here and tagless. What do you think, number 3? Man, they're going for that dandelion. What's up, buddy? Cool. All right, I better call this one quits. Now that they're off one of our 2.5 acre home pastures, I can go ahead and get that mowed down, start that official stockpile. You know, in my area, it's probably best to get your pastures mowed, those of your pastures that you want mowed, to get them mowed before August 1st, just to give them the maximum amount of time to start collecting rainfall, start resting, and to get as tall as possible for your winter stockpile grazing. The other thing that I will mention before I go is that we have a Instagram page now. It's at WR_ranch. You'll recognize the logo. If you look us up, you'll recognize the logo. So it's something I just started, and it's actually been a lot easier to post about the day-to-day and kind of what goes on day-to-day that maybe, you know, only takes a couple 2-3 minutes, that doesn't really warrant an 8 to 12 minute video, YouTube video. So if you want to keep up with what's going on here a little bit more frequent than what I'm able to post on YouTube, as well as see a lot of the poultry, the pastured poultry, the meat birds are out on pasture now. It's a lot easier for me just to take little videos and do little photos and stuff like that, especially with the poultry, and put it on our Instagram page. So if that interests you, if you want to keep up to date, go ahead and find us on Instagram. Like always, questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, go ahead and leave them down below, and you know I'll always answer you guys. So appreciate you watching, and we'll see you at the next one. Happy cows. Gotta love it.